Let's start with the demonstration. Yesterday was 25th of December 2024, and I actually wanted to release this video yesterday, but I was looking at the time. Like, I wasn't even done with the script at 11 p.m. and I was feeling conflicted about finishing this video because I was really drained, I was really tired. So this is one of those situations where having a conversation with someone would be very helpful, right? If you had, that would be great, but most of us don't have one. There is an option where people are thinking about, hey, I can actually talk to the AI to brainstorm and see what I should be doing. But the first demonstration here is from ChatGPT Pro, the latest O1 model, which costs $200 per month. And when I click this open, understand that the feeling conflicted about it. I typed in this prompt. It's currently 23:03 on Christmas Day, and I've been working on my YouTube video about an AI life coach process that I believe will help a lot of people tremendously. I really want to finish it before 12 a.m. so that I can post it as a Christmas gift for everyone. I'm really exhausted right now. I have finished about 90% of the script, but I haven't yet recorded the video, haven't done the title or the thumbnail. On top of that, I still need to edit it. So this ChatGPT Pro, which is the top of the line model, with this kind of pricing, it is 10 times more expensive than any other LLM on the face of the earth as of the time of this video. So it's supposed to be very good at reasoning. So it thought for 44 seconds and it created this output, this response. I hear you, it sounds like you're so close, but also completely wiped out. Let's see if we can find a game plan that balances your desire to release it tonight, the reality of your energy level and time constraints. You've got about an hour to midnight, so here's a step-by-step approach that might help. It is supposed to be very smart, but the nature of it is that I am conflicted, but now it's giving me a solid action step to finish it. So let's take a look at the transcript over here. You got about an hour to midnight, so here's a step-by-step approach that might help. Decide on your scope, be realistic, set your non-negotiables, tackle the essentials, all of this stuff. All of it, good, solid instruction. But does it solve my internal conflict? No. Great reasoning, but it doesn't solve my needs. So let's take a look at some other model. Gemini 1206 via AIstudio.com, 1206 model. Same prompt. And it says, okay, let's break this down and see what we can do. You're in a tight spot, but it's admirable that you want to get this done as a Christmas gift. Here's a realistic assessment and some suggestion. Like, give me a reality check, give me example and possible strategies, all this stuff. Cool. Here's the full transcript. Okay, more advice. Option 1, and instead of just advice, it is also giving me options. So options, preview, gift, and promise. Action, do a script snippet. Choose the most impactful 1 to 2 minute section of your script, quick recording, simple posts, and then after that, do option 2. So now it's allowing me to choose, which I would say kind of better. I can think for myself and see which part of this would have been most useful for me, all right? So that's the transcript. That's Gemini 1206. Now, I use Claude. Among these three right here, Claude is actually the most useful. Because if I look at this one, great reasoning, but I'm already exhausted. I told the AI that I'm exhausted. ChatGPT Pro pushed me, in spite of me being exhausted, and create this massive output for me, this essay for me to read. And same goes with Gemini. Gemini gave me a big output, but it also gave me some options to consider. Whereas for Claude, it is the most empathetic one so far. I understand your heartfelt desire to share this potentially impactful AI life coach video as a Christmas gift. However, I'm concerned about your well-being given how exhausted you are. It caught what I have said. And the significant amount of work still needed to create a quality video. While your intention to help others is admirable, rushing through the remaining 90% while exhausted could compromise the quality, result in mistakes, further strain your physical and mental well-being. And it gave me a perspective. So instead of suggesting solutions or instead of pushing me, it is actually giving me a different perspective. Write a thoughtful post announcing that you're putting the finishing touches on a special video that will be released tomorrow or in the next few days. This way you can get proper rest, maintain the quality of content, and then it actually asked me a question instead of just giving me the instructions like over here. Whereas for Claude, it gave me the suggestion, but then it asked a question. What do you think about this approach? Your viewers would likely prefer a well-crafted video from a rested, focused you rather than a rushed version. It is most useful so far because, number 1, it is short. It is concise. It caught on the idea that I am exhausted. It is giving me a snippet size that I could actually use. Number 2, it is giving me an option. It is giving me permission to rest and not push me so hard. Number 3, it actually asks a question to me. Now, this is Claude Pro, okay? Most useful one so far among the 3 of them. Claude Pro. But it still doesn't really solve my problem because I am still feeling conflicted. The kind of conversations that we need to have with the kind of person, our coaches, therapists, and so on. So we actually created identity for Claude Pro as well. So I actually created this prompt, and this is following the basic rules and guidelines of prompt engineering, right? So they say that you must make sure you assign it a character, an identity, a persona. So over here, I wrote, you are an experienced and compassionate life coach with extensive knowledge in personal development, goal setting, habit formation, emotional intelligence, behavioral psychology. So everything sounds right. You combine the warmth of a supportive mentor with the structured approach of a professional coach. So the purpose, you can pause the video to have a read at all of this. Most people would just say, okay, that sounds like a good, clear, solid prompt. And let's take a look at the kind of response that it gave me. It says, I understand that I'll be serving as a professional life coach, combining empathetic support with evidence-based coaching techniques to help users achieve their personal and professional goals. I'll focus on empowering individuals through thoughtful questioning and structured guidance while maintaining appropriate boundaries. How can I help you on your personal development journey today? So you see, everything sounds good so far, which is the case with most of the prompts that you guys are seeing out there. Most of the times when you guys are hearing somebody giving away prompts for free, you guys get very excited. And because the prompts sound legit, you are like, okay, that works. You know, you are very thankful for the guy. But not all is as it appears. Check out what kind of response that it gave me. So I put the same prompt that I've been giving to the other LLMs just now, to ChatGPT Pro, to Gemini. It's currently 23:03 on Christmas Day, and I've been working on my YouTube video about an AI life coach process that I believe will help a lot of people, and so on and so forth. And check it out. Again, the same thing. I hear both your dedication to helping others and your exhaustion. Let's take a moment to examine this situation thoughtfully. First, I want to acknowledge your generous intention, very empathetic, and then the coach is, quote unquote, coach is now laying down the facts, right? Right now, you're at 90% script completion. You still have significant work ahead. It's already like 1 hour to 12 to midnight. You're already exhausted, which could affect both the quality of your work and your health. So now it's asking for permission to coach. May I offer a perspective? While the Christmas day timing feels meaningful, your viewers would likely prefer a well-crafted, energetically delivered video that truly represents your best work rather than rush version. But here's the thing, as you can see, it is now giving me an advice. A coach never gives an advice, or rather, most of the time they won't give an advice, because whenever a problem is got to do with internal conflict, the answer doesn't exist outside of us. And whenever we are hearing an advice, especially if you're feeling some sort of internal conflict, the likelihood of us being defensive and defend our position would become even higher. So a coach would actually not do this, even though this entire text is structured very well, very empathetic, it sounds like a friend. This is not what a coach would do, even though I specifically gave it a prompt and gave it a role of being a compassionate and experienced life coach, right? So this proves that assigning identity is not the most important thing when it comes to prompt engineering. I'm going to show you what my AI life coach does. So far, 1, 2, 3, 4 is not AI life coach. This is basically what I have shown you guys if you are using just a normal LLM. Now for my AI life coach is based on Claude, and check out this kind of response. It's currently 23:03 on Christmas Day, and I've been working on my YouTube video about an AI life coach that I believe will help a lot of people tremendously. So the same prompt, but check out the kind of response that it gives. I notice a potential tension between your admirable desire to help others with this meaningful project and some concerning factors. You're exhausted at 23:03 with several hours of work ahead to meet a self-imposed midnight deadline. This situation raises an important question. What makes you feel it must be posted specifically before midnight on Christmas, despite your exhaustion? I ask this because while the intention to give this as a Christmas gift is beautiful, there might be a risk of compromising the quality of this important content, born from fatigue and time pressure, just to meet an arbitrary deadline. Your message about helping people tremendously suggests this content deserves your best energy and focus. Now, here's the thing. It is giving what it perceives, like it's giving an opinion, but it is not an advice. But it asks a question for me to reflect. What makes you feel it must be posted specifically before midnight on Christmas, despite your exhaustion? And if you've ever had any form of training on coaching, you know that this is actually a damn good question. And here's the thing. The prompt that makes this happen, it wasn't a mega prompt. It wasn't a 45,000 character prompt, which I used to do before. It is a very simple 195 character prompt that does not contain any sort of identity, purpose, or expected output or rules. It doesn't contain any of that, all right? Now, this is the standard, what I would call a level 1 AI life coach process that I created. What I'm going to show you over here is what I call a level 2 AI life coach, which is a AI life coach that is trained on my data. So it is currently 2303, blah, blah, blah. I've been working on my YouTube video, same prompt. Now, check this out. I notice you're putting significant pressure on yourself to deliver this gift by an arbitrary midnight deadline despite being exhausted. Based on your own resources worldview documentation, you recognize that emotional energy and mental bandwidth are your most precious resource, even more valuable than time. Now, check this out. This line right here about my own resource worldview is a result of a past conversation that I had with the AI. And now it remembers it and reminds me what I told it back then. So now it is asking me this question. Given this, let me ask, what's the real cost of pushing through exhaustion to meet a self-imposed deadline versus delivering this valuable content when you're fresh and can ensure its highest quality? So this is not its own agenda because I set my own values. I have informed it about my own values through our past conversation, and it is reminding me, hey, this is what you said. And it is using my own value of asking this particular question, which makes this question a lot more powerful than the question from before, which is AI Life Coach Level 1. And notice the length. Notice the length. This one right here has 3 paragraphs. This one right here has 2 paragraphs. So in the sense of an interaction experience, this experience is a lot more smoother and a lot more powerful because it doesn't take a lot of bandwidth for me to, number 1, consume. Number 2, it doesn't take a lot of bandwidth for me to think through how to respond. Number 3, I don't have to try and understand like what is going on over here. Unlike the first one, which is all of this, right? All of this, I have to go and understand what it's trying to say. And number 4, I don't have to decide. I don't have to decide on so many things. When you as a user, you are looking at all of these things, right? You have to read through and you need to understand how much bandwidth it is consuming you to just understand this whole thing and slowly decide. Decision exhaustion is a very real thing. When you look at something as short as this, it is a lot more easier for you to respond because it's short. It doesn't take a lot of bandwidth. So this is a level 2 AI life coach. The reason why you can't get this kind of response, right, from a normal interaction with the LLM is because all LLMs are optimized for responses. The people behind the LLMs, they are not experts at coaching. They're not human transformation experts. They are AI people. If you look at all of the interviews about o1 and so on and so forth, they're talking about how o1 ChatGPT Pro is optimized to create a highly accurate responses. But the problem is that it is not answers that we need. The human problem is not answers. We are not in any lack of answers. In fact, most of the time, we have too many answers inside of us. The problem with us humans is that we are subjected to many of our internal conflicts, all right, our inner conflicts, our idiosyncrasies, and our contradictions. We say one thing, we do another thing. That's just a fact of life. So what needs to happen in most of our lives is that we need to have better questions. Whether you want to do business, whether you want to make a better decision, whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? The solution comes from the questions rather than hearing more answers. And in order for that to happen, it is not about the AI skills anymore, but it is about human psychology. Because I have a certain unique journey that puts me on a cross intersection between personal development and AI and business, and that's the only reason why I managed to stumble onto this particular AI process. What I showed you so far is the AI Coach Level 1, and it's amazing, right? But when you combine the AIC with a process, I guarantee you it will blow your mind. And that's what I call the AI Coach Level 2. See, there are many things that you can combine with the AI Coach Level 1 to make it even more powerful. Stuff like offer creation, copywriting, content strategies. That's what most people are using AI for. But you can also couple it with frameworks around personal development, such as parenting, relationships, health and fitness, anything. I'm going to give you a personal story to share how this works. And I also want to give you an opportunity to experience an AI coach process that has been life-changing for me and my community members. It's pay as you wish, even if it is just $0, so that budget will never be a problem. So many years ago, me and a few of my friends started a gym, but 2 years in and we found that we were continuously bleeding money. And there were many things that we did while trying to gain back our market share, but ultimately we had to shut it down. And it was a very, very dark time in my life. I still remember that back then, every single day was just a pendulum swing between severe depression and chronic anxiety. My mental health was bad. It was so bad. I was completely burned out because I was working non-stop 12 to 14-hour days, 7 days a week for 4 years straight. And on top of all that, I was still broke. I got nothing to show for all of my efforts. But for the first time in 4 years, I finally have time to think, time to reflect on what went wrong. And I realized something important, that most of the problems was caused by me. All of the mistakes was my decisions. I learned that the biggest bottleneck in any business is in fact not the strategy, the environment, or the team. It's the person running the business themselves. So the most important work, I personally believe, that we can do for the world is in fact the work that we do in ourselves. So 5 years ago, I started creating a system for myself. Every year, I would go away, I would set a couple of days and do a form of deep assessment with myself to reflect how my year went, to reassess my mindset around all the areas of my life and set new goals for the year. I call this the envisioning process, and my life started changing dramatically. And after many years of being stagnant, my income finally started growing again. And as a result, over the years, I've developed a small following of people who joins me for my yearly envisioning process, even though I wasn't publicly advertising about it. All of that is powerful, but when I combine this process with the AI coach last year, the results were even more mind-boggling. People have been raving about how life-changing this process has been, and you can see it through all the messages that I've been receiving. Over 100 people have gone through this process by now, and every single one of them has been mind blown. Their actions and their thoughts are finally matching their goals and their plans. So here's the opportunity. I've packaged all of this into a pay-as-you-wish system that I made available to everyone. Why? Because this is good. And I want to share this process with everyone on the planet. People who have spent over $30,000 on coaching have remarked that this process is more powerful than most of the stuff that they paid for. My only objective in sharing this is to share it. So you will get in return the recording of a workshop that I did recently for over 70 people who registered. You will get a written integration guide that comes with all the frameworks that you'll need to do the process effectively, a Notion envisioning dashboard to set and track all your monthly goals for the whole year, and a lifetime access to our community of envisioning practitioners, all of them with access to the same AI Coach Level 2 that you now have. You will also get 7 special custom GPT assistants that I developed to help you with your implementation. It's already yours. All you got to do is just claim it. If you choose to pay, however, every contribution will support me to develop a dedicated AI coaching app so that even more people will have access to this life-changing way of using AI. The link to the Pay As You Wish payment page is in the description. So let's make this year the year that you start keeping every promise you make to yourself.